Yo, what is up? So, I have left Nobara Linux because I was having a few issues with it, mainly stability. So, I'm just going to check this one out, CachyOS, and I've been for the last couple of days. And so my thoughts on it so far, it seems to be more stable in terms of updates and all that. Because, as I said, on Nobara, I was literally running into too many issues. Literally too many issues. Although when it worked, it was alright. I think, to be fair, with any distro you use on Linux, there will be issues because I've definitely had a few issues already on this one. But I mean, it's one of them things when you you figure out the workarounds and then you just get on with it. I'm not gonna lie, it has wound me up at times, definitely. But for someone like me, I'll just figure it out, and then not a lot of people. If you're not into modding or figuring stuff out that's technical, then you will definitely get frustrated with Linux as a whole. I mean, there's definitely issues you run into, but I've figured out a few more things. I mean this for example, OBS. Uh, I didn't have this issue on the bar, but for some reason on there, it just wouldn't give me my native resolution for my ultra wide. So I've had to muck about with it, and then I realised I could type in myself on here. So I done that. That was the first issue, and then there was another issue. As you saw, I think it was Leetress. So I basically logged into that, and I couldn't get Ubisoft Connect to work. So I was uninstalling it, reinstalling it, and I was actually having this on the bar the last time I used it. And what I figured out is you've literally got to select the Proton first. If you select the Wine Proton and log in, then it won't let you log into the Protons you want to use next time. So you got to make sure you select these Protons first, then log into your Ubisoft Connect account. Otherwise, you're literally going to run into all these issues. It's going to be a right pain in the arse. So, but whatever. I mean, I'm just going to get on with it. I won't keep going on about the issues because there's been a fair few. So, but I mean, what I will say is, if you're gonna use Linux, then you are definitely gonna have some problems. But if you're an experienced PC user, you might be able to get around them. But it's gonna definitely annoy people. But anyway, I've still achieved quite a lot because what I like about CachyOS so far, if you're asking me what do I prefer, Nobara or CachyOS, I think CachyOS at the moment, because it seems like when I'm putting FSR 4 into the game, it looks far better on this compared to Nobara. I'm not sure why, because in this game, Final Fantasy 16, I was getting a lot of very weird artifacts and all that, and the same with this, and I haven't. So we will load it up because I did do a video on this rebirth and you saw all the artifacting. This is another stupid thing I do. So I couldn't get my ultra wide up for some reason, so I've had to put in this command. And this is what I'm talking about. If you don't know what you're doing, you are definitely gonna run into issues. And this Mango HUD is just to get my FPS up here, because the game's overlay literally won't bring it up. Or you can enable it globally, but what I found out with that is it will just go over all these apps you load up. So for example, if I went into here, it would appear there and it would get in the way of the writing. So this is what I was using on Glorious Egro, his name is. So he's the one who created Nobara Linux, which is what I was using. To be fair, they was working alright. They was getting me into the games. I just didn't like the way FSR 4 was looking. So if you're worried about FSR 4, I think CachyOS is the best way to go, because if you click here, he's telling you all the commands and what he's doing to update. So you got the latest version there of FSR. It does put it in, but again, I have found, so this is the case for both of them, I have found that outside of Steam, them commands are basically a gimmick. That's because they're not working, so we will look at that. But again, that frustrated me on Nobara, and then I found out, I thought it might work on here, because you got to use proton underscore FSR4 underscore upgrade. So I've done it correctly, but it still wasn't working, because I've tried The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk, and it's so easy to tell in quite a few games, especially Cyberpunk, and it didn't. So the commands, I believe it's working in Final Fantasy 16, the command, but it wasn't in Rebirth, and I think that is because FSR is not in the game. So I literally had to enable DLSS to get it to work. So I used Optiscaler. I think Optiscaler is still the best way to get FSR4 in the game, to be honest. And on the latest drivers, you are getting that FP8 performance, rather than, so a few weeks ago you weren't getting that on Nobara or CachyOS, so you seem to be getting it now. So as long as you got the latest Mesa drivers, they're called, on Linux, which is AMD, you should be alright. Just enable it and then the performance should come with it. So this is what you got to do on CachyOS. You got to put this command in here. That is just to get the FPS up, as I said, and then you always need to put =1 after that upgrade, and then end it with a % command here, %. So we'll load this up, have a look at. And the other thing I've been, I don't know if I'll turn my sound down. I might have to turn the sound down. So check. Yeah. Right, so the other issues I've been having, and I had this on both Nobara and CachyOS. It's not been too bad on a CachyOS, but it's still there. And what happens is my controller, sometimes I had it in a Mirage where my controller would sort of go walkabout and the input would be a bit delayed. So I'm still trying to get to the bottom of that. I'm not sure what's going on there, but and the excuse for my it feels alright now, but it feels a bit delayed sometimes. But the excuse for me having a slow SSD has gone now, because I've literally got a SanDisk for the Linux OS and the game drive, so, and everything is super fast now, so it's very snappy outside the game. But I'm not sure what's going on with my fucking controller at times on there, and it's definitely a Linux issue, because it's not happening on Windows. It never happens on Windows. So as you can see on here, so we have got FSR4 on the latest version, and there's literally no artifacts or anything. So that is a lot better, and this is why I think I'd recommend CachyOS over Nobara at this time, because of what I'm seeing with the image quality, and so that's pretty good. So the image quality for FSR4 on here seems to be a lot better for some reason. Again, you got different people working on these distros. So you got one person working on Nobara, and you got this other bloke from GIT Hub working on this, and he seems to be doing a lot of good work on CachyOS. I think with this one, you probably it does feel better for stability in terms of system updates and all that. Because there's a couple of times where I was installing some updates and it bloody broke and it literally froze me PC on the Nobara, and I even had to reinstall it one or twice. I mean, so that was fucking annoying. So that's why I just decided to try this one out, because there's a lot of hype for it. I think it's based on Arch, which is, it's meant to be more difficult because when you first load it up, there's not as many apps and all that, but you can download them anyway. The one issue I did have is this thing wasn't installed by default for some reason. So again, so it wasn't literally detecting my drives when I first loaded up. It's not. I've got to put password in, so I'm not going to do that. But so that is the issue I had. So if you do use this, you will need to install that with this software package, this manager here. You just scan in and you just literally type in what you want. Like I've been looking at my so these are the Xbox controller drivers. So I've reinstalled some more to see if it fixes my issue, but it does seem to be an issue, a bit of an issue at times, where your controller will be slightly unresponsive. I think Windows is definitely smoother as well for gaming. It feels, even if you're getting like over 100 FPS on it does feel a bit choppy at times. So I'm not sure what that is, but I mean I've literally got all my so I've got that now. That's just as fast as the operating system is on there. So there's no excuses why it should be slow in gaming with say a controller dropping out or whatever. So the next thing I want to show people. So we've had a look at Cyberpunk before. Again, it just feels like these commands in these apps. So I put it in there and it didn't work at all, because I could literally tell. So what I've done is I've just done up to scale for both of these. So we'll load this one up. And you will have to enable this for it to come up, Mango HUD, so you don't have to put a command in. I mean, this app's pretty good actually. Heroic Launcher. Not had too many issues with this at all. Lutris, I've definitely had some issues with that when I'm trying to use the Ubisoft app. But so all these other launchers you got to use Optiscaler. And again in this one I found FSR 2 literally works if you want to apply FSR 4. So that'll come up once you reload into the game. Oh, this menu here, you always got to tap the buttons just to skip this bit. But I think I probably will stay on CachyOS now because it just feels more stable to me. And as I said, I'm not getting all these artifacts when I'm putting FSR 4 on. So I don't know why, but that just seems to be the case. Right. I don't know why that's not going that. I did preload it before as well, so that should work. Or they took. So XESS is what I used on Windows to get on. Oh, now it's come on. Bloody weird. Because I'm pretty sure when I moved it to FSR, it was still working. Because I was getting some buggy screen, but I think I vaguely remember that happening on the... Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. So it's still on. Bloody weird. Because when I first put it on XESS, half the screen was all black. So I put it to FSR 2 and it was alright. Ah well, it's definitely not... I don't think DLSS works on there because I did try it. It's getting the same issue. Either way we've got it on. I just want to double check that. So we've got... wonder if that. Oh, right. So that's very weird. So on Linux, oh, it seems to work on all three. It's interesting. Well, I think the FPS might be worse than bloody DLSS, is it? I'll have to figure that out another time. So you get more on FSR. So when you move a mouse on there, you can't even bloody go on the menu because it moves the screen about. I think I'd stick to CachyOS because I know that works on Windows. That's what I believe I used before. So I'll just do that so that anyway, that's definitely on. So do get less FPS with that. Seems to look alright. Anyway, I'll probably look at that another time. I do remember XCS being the best, from what I remember. So moving on, we can have a look at this Cyberpunk again. Have a quick look because I've done a video on it, and I'll probably end it up with Final Fantasy 16. Probably have a look at that. Yeah, that'd do. Right. So that is clearly on. So I did enable frame generation because this bloody game, you literally can't enable it until you restart. So I thought I'd just preload it. So it's clearly on there, and so you getting on. I mean, it will be dipping to around 50 from the base. This is quite a demanding part of the game in here. So I think it's got the psycho. It's not got path tracing on, but yeah, it definitely looks a lot better than bloody FSR 3 did in there. So this would be available for 7000 series. So you've got that on. I mean, I will definitely. I don't bother with path tracing myself. I I think it looks pretty nice with a normal ray tracing, to be honest. The balance isn't too. I mean, with FSR 4, you're literally not going to miss much from quality. I don't think too much on there. That feels a bit smoother now as well. So again, I think you are getting worse performance on Linux compared to Windows on there. So yeah, I mean, it feels alright. Yeah. Again, I do think Windows is better, but if you haven't got the option of Windows, then it's a decent alternative. So, oh, I've got two here. So that don't happen on Windows. That's weird. Right. So we'll have a quick look at Final Fantasy 16. Because there was a lot of weird artifacts on Nobara. So I can't really be bothered to go back to that Nobara because I was having issues with it. But I think I would definitely just stick with CachyOS because it just seems for me anyway. If I want to use Linux, then just seemed a logical choice. Yeah, I don't use that. Right, so this is actually using, because I believe it is working in here without the optiscaler. So the commands are actually working on CachyOS.
Taste my peaches! They're sweet as nectar!
So, because I did notice the FPS dropped slightly as well once I put it on. So it looks pretty good. I mean, there's definitely, it looks miles better than it did on Nobara and that other distro. That's on FSR 4 quality. It's quite heavy in parts, this game, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the smoothness of the game ain't as good as Windows, but I mean, to get this, I don't know if it's anything to do with because obviously FSR 4 isn't supported yet by AMD on Vulkan or Linux, is the same thing really. So I don't know if that's why there is a smoothness issue when I'm putting it on.
Let me carry your goods.
So maybe it could be that they're still. I mean, the people at GIT Hub are probably doing sort of duct tape sort of fixes on it. But my controller feels fine now. But there's definitely some sort of smoothness issue where, like, it says I'm getting 80, 90 FPS, but it don't feel like it. So I don't know what the lows of 31 FPS. But even when I've had that low on Windows, it's felt smoother. But in terms of image quality, it definitely looks nice. Looks pretty much the same as Windows would, although without the HDR. So that is another thing you can actually force HDR. So I probably would have to do that and it would look better. So if people want to enable HDR, you would have to install optiscaler. So for example, I would just go in it. So I'd have to go in it, common, since I've installed it on Rebirth optiscaler. You would have to click any settings. Then you just scroll down until you find the HDR options, and then you just put true. So there's so many options in here. So I believe it is somewhere about here. There we are. So you just delete that. and put true and then save it, and then that would force HDR on. So again, I don't know why. Let me just show that what I've done actually. See, that is lightning. Everything is lightning quick outside the games. So this is what I've done to get FSR 4 in this game. So you just Proton, not Mango, although you will need that if you want to look at your FPS, but just that Proton underscore FSR 4 underscore upgrade equals 1. That is what you need with that command here as well. So that's important, otherwise it won't work. So after every sort of command you would need that command in Steam anyway. So, but again, I've got HDR on in here. See, so I don't know why you got to. Again, there's going to be issues on whatever distro you use. I believe there will be issues. There will be curveballs, and a lot of people are going to get the ump, and they'll probably go back to Windows if they're. See, there's things I like about this, and there's things I don't like about it. So I'm not, as I said in my previous videos, I'm not going to hate on it, because I mean, there are things I like about it. I mean, I do like these wallpapers they give you as well. So there's got all these different wallpapers you can have. So with depending on the distro, you can go on there, change all that. I mean, I did like. This one's pretty good, so you could apply that. So for customization, for doing what you want, it's because I like modding. It's more customizable than Windows, but then you will get issues. So it's I don't know, if FSR 4 can literally improve and I can get a smoother performance, and if controller support can actually get better, because I've got no issues enabling it, but there's definitely something going on with my controller just going walkabout. So I'm not sure what that is, but I didn't notice it when I loaded it up, but it can happen after like an hour of playing, and then so I mean that's a bit of it is a massive red flag for me, that if I'm playing say FIFA Online or something, not that I can use it on there anyway because the EA app doesn't work, but if I'm playing a competitive game, that's going to be an issue if my controller sort of stops working for a minute, and then it's like, it wouldn't be ideal, would it? So I'd be too worried about that. On Windows I never have it, so I have got a Xbox Elite controller, so I don't know if it's an issue to that, but who knows. So I'm gonna probably carry on using this, and as I said, so far I'm preferring it to Nobara because I just feel it's just more stable in what I want to do. Like gaming, it is definitely got a slight edge to it. I think I do prefer. I will just be using these now because these updates just seem better for FSR 4. So if you got a 7000 series, I'd have to say go to CachyOS because you are getting better support and image quality seems better. I mean, these weren't bad. They would get me into the game, but there's definitely a lot of issues where it just weren't looking great when I turned FSR 4 on. So. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably have to go back to Nobara at some point, but I do believe they're ahead of the curve at the moment. CachyOS just seem to be doing more for it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.